Hi, Catherine. Can we do a sound check? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Actually, I
I
can't.
was on mute.
Yeah, I can hear you well as well.
Okay, great.
And you can probably hear me too.
Very loud and clear.
Can you quickly give me?
Oh, there we go. Wow, I just had to reset. Mario, Eliezer, or Hector, or anyone, what was the last thing you guys heard from us?
Nothing.
Did you hear anything around the calendar?
No.
Oh, wow.
How's it
All
going, everyone, by the way? But yes, I didn't hear anything.
Okay.
Starting at the beginning.
All right, we're gonna recap. Start at the beginning and perfect timing for Luana. who
Oh,
took
hello, I'm
everything.
so sorry. I took the bus instead of the train, big mistake.
No, you're good.
Rush hour.
All right, we went through April and May. So far, no one here has changes. We don't conflict with Passover or Memorial Day. Well, actually, the only kind of change, if you will, is in April. Based on the number of Tuesdays, so technically exec is the second Monday of April. And then it'll still be the fourth, the general will stick to the fourth of, the month, of Tuesday of the month. Sorry. So we're good with April and May. If folks for the month of May are thinking of joint meetings, you gotta speak now or speak soon, or alternative locations, same thing.
When's Easter?
4/20.
Okay,
Sunday.
so the 21st is Easter Monday.
Mhm.
And we don't, okay.
Alexa says no updates for this month. Next month, for April, we're gonna have robust meeting. So we'll have treasurer report, we'll have secretary report. So we'll have a lot of admin things mainly for next month. The other thing I had said earlier, in case folks missed out, is, we have 2 resolutions before us, so if you don't have them and you're on Zoom, let us know. So we can email them, excuse me. And then second to that is we're gonna vote on the 2 items. We're gonna talk about resolutions on the table or on the agenda for next week. And then we're gonna go through committee chair updates. I want us to be cognizant of the fact that we have 1 more quarter before the summer break, right? So if there are things that your committee's been trying to either vote on or get presentations on or kind of like wrap up, we're in that crunch time, right? So like anything that you feel like you might need, or you just want to alert us to, in this body here, let's use that time for that. All right. We'll start with the North Cove project, so we'll pass it to Luana.
Sorry, I'm having a minute. Good evening, everybody. Ya me cogió maticando. All right, so does that include my updates or just the
No, just the
resolution?
red zone, let's stick to the red zone.
So during our CB12 PCA meeting, we had a presentation of a partnership between the NYC EDC Parks and Cornell Rothschild Partners. As everybody knows, there is a revitalization project happening in the North Cove. And I've outlined the perimeter of that area. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but because of the timeline that they want to start or continue with the project on March 28th. They're asking for a letter of support to continue with this project. They came in and did a presentation that included renderings of the project, a timeline, the period for public comment. And because the presentation happened this past Tuesday, we weren't able to come up with a resolution before the next deadline, which is March 28th. The committee did have some questions and also some clarifications that were needed. And this is why we bring this resolution during executive, because if we were to wait for the next PCA meeting, then that is past the March 28th deadline. So I hope everybody was able to read the resolution. If you have any questions, I'm also happy that 2 of my committee members are here to help me clarify, but this is basically what we are saying. We are in support of the project. I don't know if it should be called revitalization project because it didn't come with the title, so we just inserted that, revitalization. But there was some concerns with regards to street access to bathrooms, which we have clearly outlined, and also the disruption of the marsh. Not the disruption per se, but sort of like the laying of the concrete stones. And basically, we had a concern as to how much of the marsh would be sacrificed in that development. Additionally, we also want to acknowledge the work of James Cataldi in that area. Overall, we were impressed with the presentation. We feel that it addresses various needs, recreational needs, public access to waterways and fresh air. It's a great addition in terms of parks. But there were some questions, but we do support it overall with the recommendations that we have outlined in the resolution itself. Oh, and also we had a visit. Anthony Viola was there too. So I got 3 of my peeps here ready to help me answer questions. But I hope that we captured this resolution with the concerns that were brought out. And that's why we said that we do support it with the following recommendations in the be it resolved. So open to questions. Yes.
Just an observation or suggestion on the resolved. The 4th one really doesn't seem to be one of your conditions. It's saying that you would support it subject to that. So what if you change the resolve that the committee or CB12 supports the project subject to the following conditions, and then 1, 2, 3 other conditions?
Okay, that's a friendly amendment, though, but I'll accept. And then if you can give me your.
So this resolution was sent out to the members.
Yeah, it's on the table.
Yeah.
This one and the other one are on the table.
Yeah, I emailed it to the office.
And that's the same edit that Barbara had too.
Okay.
Oh, Barbara had
There are
to
more
edit
copies
also.
here.
Yeah.
Give me more copies.
Here, you can take mine.
You can take mine and I'll take Wayne's. Is that okay? Wayne?
Sure. Not that you can read it.
Well, I can send it to you for you to. read it.
Sure.
How's that? Here, Isidro, here, take mine, because I wrote it, so, well, we
No,
wrote it.
we got it.
Oh, that minute, see, I was right.
I'm good, I read it. I can put-
Oh, yeah, let me have the other one.
Oh, you want the parts?
Oh,
Oh, yeah, you got yours. then.
I have this one.
All right, any questions for Luana?
In essence, what is this project about? Because I haven't read this resolution for you. What is it?
It's, so you know that area by Academy,
Sherman Creek?
between Sherman Creek, yes. That entire area is being revitalized to create a more, it's gonna go from wild to a little bit more, let me choose the word correctly. It's creating a more accessible open space for the people in the community. So this is a partnership between Parks, the EDC, and a landscape architectural firm to basically revitalize that entire area. I'm so sorry, I had
It's
a
one
long
of those
day.
waterfront.
Yes, it's a
enhancement
waterfront,
projects.
exactly. Thank you. The architect has spoken, yes. Waterfront enhancement project.
Would that intervene in any way, shape, or form with amount of parking spaces? What would be the rendering of the sidewalks around it? Doesn't interfere at
It's
all.
at the end of a circle. Or
It's on the
not even
water.
like a cul-de-sac almost.
Oh,
Yeah.
So south of 201st, right?
Yes. Right between 207 Academy, 201st, and then by PS5, like that wetland
Mhm.
behind PS5. And what I liked about it is that they did their due diligence. If you see in the resolution, they did collect a robust amount of signatures. They did conduct several public
It
comment.
was like the.
They even engaged PS5, the kids of PS5. So if anybody wants to see also their timeline, I just didn't want to outline every single outreach event that they did, but I'm comfortable, or we are comfortable in saying that the amount of outreach that was done for this project was indeed robust. And the stakeholder engagement was also robust.
The only suggestion I have is related to Wayne's, the title, if we could change it to resolution and conditional support and remove with changes at the end of it.
Sure. Do you want to write it for me, or do you want me to forward the resolution electronically? You can insert it.
That's-
Can you do that? Yeah, yes.
Yes, so I have a friendly amendment for 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. It says over 500, so maybe you just need one over.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank
No
you.
problem.
Thank you.
And
Yes,
That's it.
indeed.
my question is amazing that we had robust community input, but are we hiring anybody from the community to do this work?
I don't have an answer to that
I think that's
because
something
I don't know if that is, I don't know. The discussion of labor was not brought up in the presentation. And I don't know if that is contingent upon budgets, liabilities, permits. So yeah, but I think they're due for a second presentation because we did they say that they would be back
Just like
with?
they may fall under MWBE.
They have the goal, they're required with the, what is it, 30?
But the MWBE is it for the people that are executing the project or?
Oh, yeah.
Right, so this is a
Contract.
contract, yeah. The MWBE is probably for the contract, not for the manual construction labor that would go into it. And
That's
I
the
don't know,
only thing
if-
I would like to know.
And
Yeah.
to that point too, I think the restroom aspect of this park is actually being run by the building that it's adjacent to. It's not being run by the parks. So,
thank you for that.
yeah. So I guess whoever is in that building.
It's always promoting to hire people from the community.
Sorry, Alexis, when you get a chance, you can do a roll call. Or actually, let's do a roll call after these, so. All right, I don't see any questions.
So two amendments accepted from Anthony and Wayne, and they will edit on the electronic version of it. For Wayne, because he says that I'm not gonna understand his handwriting.
I don't understand my handwriting.
I'm gonna let Tanisha chew, and then maybe you can talk about yours.
The Mungo's right there.
But I think this is the second time we vote on, like last year, I think we voted the same thing on.
That was different.
Oh, that was a different one.
So
Tanisha, explain to them.
a couple of months ago,
Yeah,
a couple of months ago, we had Coalition for Equitable Education Funding come and do a presentation for us on foundation aid formula. Back in December, the governor gave $2 million to the Rockefeller Institute to do a study on the foundation aid formula. Don't ask me why. but that's what they did. No, that's not their ring, old man. All the old people make that mistake. So anyway, back to business. Why you over here bothering me? I'm trying to. So, yes, so we had an amazing presentation on all the reasons why we need upgrades to the Foundation Aid formula. The Foundation Aid formula was formed in 2007 to better support our students. Foundation Aid formula is the money that is attached to each student to get a sound, basic public education.
Quality.
It's tied to a campaign for fiscal equity. Our great senator, Robert Jackson, was a parent at the time, and we took the state to court and said, y'all are not giving us money to educate our kids. We won that, but we didn't get the money until 2020. And when we got the money, it was based on a formula that was formed in 2007. So think about 2007, that's when we had our first iPhone. So that's how long it's been. So Coalition for Equitable Education Funding got together last year, over 160 education advocate organizations, and came together. And so now that's still a thing. And so now we're fighting for upgrades to the Foundation Aid formula. The study that the Rockefellers did, it had some good stuff in it, but it was missing some stuff. It was missing, extra weights for children who are in foster care, extra weight for children who are houseless, because we know that they need more support, extra money for children with disabilities. Because the way that the Foundation Aid formula is written right now, it is just not enough money to support our children. So as we hear on Community Board 12 do, our Youth and Education Committee thought it was very important to write a resolution to support the Foundation Aid formula updates and the things that we want to see in the Foundation formula updates, especially the regional poverty thingy is very on. So this is our resolution. We will hope.
The data formula, I would use Furman Center. Do we know where they got that?
Advocates for Children. Everything is on Advocates for Children's website. They are the one who are the lead. Randy is amazing. They are the lead organizer for the Coalition for Education Equitable Funding. So anything that you want to see, any references that you want to see of where the data comes from, you can find on Advocates for Children's website.
And something that happened a few meetings later, we had parents who raised a concern about the two programs. It was for kids with special needs.
Autism.
Yeah, so what she was basically saying is that she lives in Inwood. It's extremely unfair for her to have to travel to the Bronx for her child to go to school because there's no what was it, like Nest,
Verizon, all the programs that
Yeah.
specifically.
and the mayor cut it last
Yes.
year as well.
Yeah, so we're always coming from a deficit.
Yeah, so their concern was that. So speaking to this, well, this is the formula. There's also and we're gonna need support because the DOE doesn't really respond. To get a presentation on why does our community not have enough of these programs and why our kids are being shipped off to the Bronx when we have so many local schools in District 6. Why isn't their program reasonably in Inwood as well as Washington Heights?
Yeah.
So that happened like 3 meetings after where the parent was concerned because she's like, it's impossible to send my kid to buses in the Bronx.
And we have the greatest number of kids with autism that we've ever had.
You saw the swearing in of,
They're predicting 1 in 2 children.
what was it, the FDC, what was his name, Robert Kennedy?
Mhm.
They
Oh,
spoke
Lord.
about, what was it? Autism going from 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 10 now.
Mhm.
So it's a real need.
And it's even more prominent in Black and brown families. I have 4 grandchildren, they all have special needs. None of my children had it. So it's very, very important that not, in this Foundation Aid, when we're saying that we want upgrades for disabilities and for special need, that's a big part of it. Also, you can see in the resolution, you know, pre-K, early intervention services. There are so many children that are right now waiting for a seat. And they have their IEP, they have their individualized education plan and everything, and it's just not enough capacity for the need. So even though we have the biggest part of the budget, education budget, there's a lot of, you know, missteps in directing that money and making sure that money really gets to our children in school where they need it. And the first step is the Foundation Aid formula, because this is the money that each child is supposed to get. Some children need more, some children need less, but it needs to be equitable. And it's not gonna be unless they make these changes.
Sorry, Marielle has her hand up for you.
Yeah, thank you. Can everyone hear me? Sorry, I'm in a
Yeah.
remote place. Okay, thanks. Thank you so much. I unfortunately can't vote on this resolution due to conflict, and so when we get to that, I'll explain. But I guess just a couple of initial reactions. The New York City Panel for Educational Policy, for those of you who don't know, is kind of like the New York City School Board, and I sit on it, and we're actually voting on the preliminary estimated budget in next week because of the way the timing works. And one of the things that was raised was this whole conversation around the impact of the Foundation Aid formula. So it's very much on the mind of the panel. I think the other thing, the point that you made, Tanisha, I think were all really extremely important points. The particular point around more D75 schools and programs for kids with special needs in District 6, that's probably a conversation to have as it relates to school utilization. And happy to kind of have a conversation with you and the team and CEC 6 in that other capacity to see what we can do. Thanks.
You can share a resolution with, what she's part of?
Housing.
No,
The panel.
No, Pat, yeah.
the panel for
Well,
education.
yeah, so
We forwarded to you so you can share with them. as
Yeah.
well.
Please,
And the,
please do, and I'll make sure they see it. Yep.
And the goal is for us to get it passed here and then for us to have our administration forward it to all other community boards in Manhattan and encourage them to pass it too. Because the more community boards in Manhattan that pass it, the better is, they know that it's really coming from the community.
We have our meeting.
And get the CECs involved as well.
Absolutely.
Question. So are we asking for, obviously, for the formula to be updated? But I guess my question is, how aggressive is the ask for that update? Are we asking for a specific percentage? Because I just don't want, this is very important, and as an educator, but then I'm wondering how aggressive should the ask be in terms of, we want an increase in this percentage, or because when you say revise, or when we'll say revise, people can just find a loophole and the formula stays the same.
So that's why we haven't, where it says therefore be it resolved, that we call on Governor Hochul and the New York State Legislature to update the regional cost index. That's the big ask, because right now, what it is measured on is really not the cost index. It's the regional cost index that was in 2007. So if they up that, then everything else will need to be increased. If they should be doing, and this is one of the things that the Rockefeller Institute missed. They didn't say anything about the update in the regional cost index, right?
But I think the way it's written, the whole sentence is what's important, because you're asking for it to be updated to account for current
Right.
differences. That means
Yes.
like today.
Yes.
Current differences
Mhm.
in, the different parts of the state. So the whole sentence, not just updating it,
Yeah,
is what we're asking
Right.
for.
right. Exactly.
With the region, like, is the New York City, all 5 boroughs one region, or are they broken into different?
I don't know, but I believe.
It's like
that
Kings
is-
County. it's
Yeah,
like-
I think it's broken into counties, but they all follow the same directive. So when we ask them for the update for regional costs, they know that's for New York City. And it's for New York
And
City,
then
not
one more.
the rest of the state.
Anthony, the
Oh
one.
my God. You're asking so many questions. You've been education committee.
Yes, Anthony, I love.
So when the formula was developed, did the governor and the legislature delegate their authority to any agency that we should also be addressing this resolution to?
Nope, the agency that we should be addressing is, our elected officials, especially our state.
So they come up with all these things?
Yes, sir.
They
They to come up with all of that, and I just want to say for the record that it was very irresponsible to fund the campaign for education, for equity without updating the foundation aid and the regional cost index. So
Might have been a compromise.
it was going to be inequitable. A lot of that money that we got, we gave to charter schools, like 3 billion of it. Because we are the only place in
That
the
pays the
country
rent.
that pays for charter school rent. We actually pay for them to come into our public schools, and, you know, I do a lot, y'all know I do a lot, but, we do like tours. And I could take you to some schools that are doing amazing work, but share the space with Success Academy.
Yes.
And so now you have children who learn differently, who have disabilities, you know, their chairs and whatever their equipment is in a hallway. Like the hallway of the school, because they literally have no room. So that's something else, you know, that we need to talk about, because we spend a lot of money unwisely, and it affects our public
Especially
school
now that
students.
it's coming, the small classroom.
Yes.
Legislation is
Reduced
coming
classroom,
to.
2027,
So the district has to have,
and we're over this
Yeah.
year.
correct,
And all of this like really affects Washington Heights, Harlem, Inwood, because as we know, you know, as a sitting on a committee, we see a lot of charter schools. We are saturated. There are so many
I
charter
think we've
schools
done a
in
good
Harlem.
job
Yeah,
vetting them.
there are, yeah, because we don't pay them. But there are so many schools, charter schools in Harlem that they made a rule that there no more can go there. Because that's how many is there. They target low income areas, because, you know, you go into rich white neighborhoods, you don't see.
But back to the
Exactly.
resolution, we're focusing on the money right now.
Right.
So we
We're
hope
ready.
everybody could vote.
Is
And
that-
expect more resolutions to come up soon as well.
No, I think
All right.
we did a very good
They want
job.
us-
Oh, yeah, you had a question.
Yes, I want to encourage everybody to vote yes for this resolution, because the way that funding happens in New York City is not the way that funding happens in suburbs.
Mhm.
Per pupil spending in the city is a fixed number, whereas in affluent neighborhoods, it's driven by real estate taxes. So if you live in a rich neighborhood, let's say Scarsdale, your per pupil spending is determined by that community, which means that your child gets to go to an elite private school.
Absolutely.
Because those are rich parents paying high real estate taxes. We don't have that luxury in New York
Nope.
City.
Correct.
Every
That's right.
kid gets the same exact amount of money. Now, if you live in the Upper East Side, you got a really good public school because you're zoned to that school, and now you got wealthy parents donating to that school.
PTAs, private,
Non-profit
nonprofit
PTAs, that's why you know you in a good.
I just
Oh,
want to say
yeah,
that.
in Brooklyn.
Thank
All
And
right.
I'm saying it again during the
Alright.
general meeting.
We ready for roll call?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is on the first resolution, on the parks of the North Cove.
They're both.
Both.
They could do-
Yes.
We can do both at the same
Yeah.
time? Okay, good. A and B, yes. Catherine Diaz,
Yes,
Anthony.
Yes to both.
yes, they're both, sorry.
Yes to both.
Tanisha,
Yes to both.
Alexis.
Yes to both.
I vote yes to both. Leo,
Yes, both.
Mary's not on. Oh,
No,
she's on the
Out the
beach.
country, yeah.
Nice. Is Joelle on?
Yes,
Hi, yes to both.
Oh. Steve Simon's not here. Marielle, sorry.
Yes to parks. I cannot vote on the youth and education one due to a conflict. I am a member of the panel for educational policy. Thanks.
Drew,
Yes to both.
Wayne,
Yes to both.
is Eleazar in?
yeah.
Oh, Eleazar.
Yes to both.
Luana,
Yes to both.
Domingo,
Yes to both.
Nobleson?
No.
Okay, Jim Berlin? Okay.
That's it.
That's it.
All right, perfect. All right.
I'll say it passes.
Besides liquor, do we have anyone else that has results for this one?
Liquor?
Yes, we have, one item that is sitting right in front of you, and that was brought to our license committee. Not on the agenda, but it required, it's time sensitive, so it requires some, intervention by the executive committee. It was not again on the license committee, so we did not address the item. It's, an outside dining. Station.
Wait, but I thought it was due, when is this one due?
I have no idea, because you're never supposed to bring it, disseminate.
This one was
it.
due 3/14, so I don't think,
This one,
hold on.
they'll say
That's why I said, I'm like, all of them, I think what it.
30 days.
Actually, hold on, let me look at it.
Well, February is a short month, remember that.
No, it's just,
They
and
get that,
we
they
can
get-
talk that.
So, yeah. Reached out to them. There's a lot of messed up things going on.
That was the wrong email to look up because.
This doesn't have the full questionnaire for DOT, and she says that.
I have too many DOT emails, so I'm like,
This
I know.
questionnaire is on the date.
Okay, this is, okay, this is. One second, we're just trying to say we need to go.
This is supposed to say the date that they referred it to community board and it doesn't. This isn't the right. one.
I'm pretty sure that one was due the 14th,
Okay.
which is why we were like,
Right,
I don't remember seeing this.
and then for license, you only had like 10 licenses, only 3 for new ones. We ended up voting for 2 of them, and 1 of them withdrew. And we also killed 1 applicant because they didn't show up.
You killed the applicant?
Killed the applicant.
The
Burnt it.
application.
Let me burnt it, he
I
said.
think there's some hidden message there.
I'm sure on your phone, now I'm just like stuck on that. Alrighty, perfect. Burger.
While you check, Chair, any ideas to why we don't have the report from Ebenezer? The agenda?
It was not on it, and that's my own oversight, because even my own report was not there. But Ebenezer, I think, is still here.
Andy will mention it.
Isn't it?
Oh,
Looks like it's a
look, it's-
sidewalk cafe, it's not a. It's not a.
Oh,
Yeah.
but when,
Really?
Yeah, sidewalks.
Looks like a sidewalk.
Yeah.
And the websites, they're still saying, I got people contacting me, still saying that our meeting still shows up as the
Yeah.
second Monday.
Yeah.
all right, let's
Get a
start off with
calendar
the,
invite.
that's 40, no, that's.
If this is sidewalk, this is 40, right? Isn't roadside 30 and sidewalk 40?
40.
But
Yeah.
that's, so
So
whenever but this isn't a date. Like the.
yeah, and this was not in our thread.
Because what's supposed to happen is DOT is supposed to refer it to the board with a date on it, so
Yeah.
we know how many days we have from.
It's a flip.
Yeah.
Can you check that? Just so we can talk about that, okay. So we just got like 2 for licensing, he said, right?
Well, 2 new ones.
It's like a total of 9 residents.
Yeah.
Alright, so 9, 10, 11, alright. Okay, cool. So we'll have Ebenezer come, we'll sort some of that stuff out. Alright, so we're gonna get into committee chair updates. Let's hold on licensing and maybe traffic, so it's Isidro, so Ebenezer. comes.
No, Ebenezer is gone.
Oh, he's gone, I thought he's coming, okay, never mind, let's start the list. Okay, so Isidro. Isidro.
So we have 10 licenses again. There was a request for 3 new licenses. We voted in favor of Tampopo. And also BVC Studios is going to open up in Broadway. there were some concerns about this particular application. But when we met with the operator, they're going to have really closing hours, like really early, so it's not going to be an issue. They're not going to have DJ, they're not going to have only recorded music. So we requested to have installed like a sound limiter. And they're going to stay open until 12 midnight, twice per week. And the rest were like renewals. And corporate change, nothing major. Right? Did I miss anything? We're also working on updating the questionnaire. We're going to have that finished by the end of June, the last meeting, so we can implement the first time that we come back from our summer break.
Is that Tempopo on Bennett or 187?
Wait for what, is the questionnaire gonna be ready?
Bennett.
June. It's going to be ready by June.
Yeah, just.
You don't have a-
We're probably gonna.
So we gotta-
talk about the next meeting.
Okay.
We'll implement it
Sí,
for
que ellos están haciendo
Until
para
this
arriba,
fall,
como
makes sense.
para la
for-
echada
probably
para
the
allá,
same
yeah.
for the good neighbors.
Really good
too.
operator.
Yeah, I like them.
That's ready to go.
No, that's
The ramen
basically,
soup.
so I had an update on the Good Neighbors sign, Hector and Carmen are here, so that works. So yeah, I just greenlit, there was some confusion, but I greenlit the yellow design, which is basically the sign. I thought it was the most visual one, and then that will have internally so that we can always change it, so like SLA, cannabis, and then who knows, any other agency that we need it for. The idea is that, I mean, it's a really simple change, like the small edits that need to be done. So it should be ready, today's Monday, by the end of the week. So whoever we approve for the month of March can get the brand new Good Neighbors sign. I wanted to talk to, I mean, Joel's online, so Joel, and business, because we do have the ability, like, we can print the first, I don't know, 500 maybe, or the first 200 in like a thicker poster paper, so it's
Yeah.
nicer.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if y'all wanna have a little mailing party in the office, or y'all wanna do some drop-offs in person. Just in terms of like, you know, bringing the new Good Neighbor sign to the small business.
Were my edits?
Oh,
done
yeah, we
before?
can do that. We can do that.
Was it the sign, the size?
It was where they put the SLA information, looked like it was attached to the community board info, so it didn't look like they were separate. And then just above where the management's phone number goes, writing if you have any questions or complaints, reach out to the phone.
At the very
I-
bottom, right?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, at the very bottom.
I didn't see that one of those, but I'll add that.
Otherwise, it just looks like there's a random.
Random phone number, yeah. I can send that. But, yeah, but that was just an idea so you could flow. So basically, we should have those by the end of next week. In
Okay.
there.
We usually hand that out to the businesses or the operators right there at the meeting, if we have copies.
Oh, at the exec meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not
I mean, at the licensing. Okay. So then that's something that the office has to, who is it that stays with you guys? Noemi or?
Noemi.
Okay.
And then, yeah, we'll continue to work on the questionnaire.
Yeah.
On the next couple months.
Yeah, I gotta work with the office to think about retroactively, so people who currently have it, making sure we can just mail them, or like I said, if y'all wanna explore
They
some drop-offs.
Kathy, they reapply every 2 years, so whenever they reapply, we could give it to them.
Sounds
So,
good.
I mean, we made a decision last year that for renewals starting in 2026. They have to show proof that they posted it.
yeah,
We took them to, but I don't think we would hold them deficient for not having the new one if
No.
they send a photo of the old one.
So-
That's
suitable.
fine, okay. All right, cool, so that covers licensing, who wants to go next? Anybody?
So land use will have no resolutions this month. We had a couple of presentations on sustainability and energy efficiency, particularly on passive house. That's something committee members were advocating for. And we also thought that presentation will be of interest to health and environment. We had the first, what probably will be a few presentations by city planning on the New York City industrial plan. And it's not quite clear what that plan will yield. I mean, because it is not a rezoning, it is not a ULURP. It's done to comply with local law 172, which both Carmen and Sean were co-sponsors of. And the idea is to support the city's manufacturing industrial base, but how the plan will do that is not yet clear. And that's one of the questions we raised and expect to get some more information on. City planning or EDC will have a public event on this in April, but the date is not yet scheduled.
Okay, I was gonna ask, do we know, and I don't remember if it goes on the yours around that pilot, no, it's actually COC, never mind, around the pilot hub. For the Amazon delivery folks. What they were doing.
No, it's not right.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so maybe June will be hopeful. All right, anybody else?
Yes, I'll go. Oh, no. So we also had a few presentations, the bigger one surrounding improvements, the bus on the Broadway corridor from DOT. If you guys remember, a few months ago, we had conversations on a potential implementation on a bus route along Broadway. They're still thinking of going through with it. They did take some of our recommendations. They're being proactive. The meeting we had, they pretty much just emphasized that we want to increase bus speeds throughout the corridor. The presentation was very similar to the presentation they gave us. They didn't discuss any plan or proposal yet. They just wanted to get some feedback from the committee and the attendees. We will emphasize that we want to make sure that there's significant outreach. I think that it's going to take a lot of moving pieces, especially for the stretch. We reiterated that we want to make sure that's done in phases rather than one shot. I think the bigger takeaway was they had MTA at the meeting as well. And MTA has implemented the ACE program, which is automatic camera enforcement. It has not been rolled out to all bus routes. I think actually M100 will be done sometime this week. So it's still at their beta form, at the beta stage. It was implemented last August in citywide from the state. But we want to see that how ACE affects the illegal parking on Broadway. So with ACE, the main reason for it is that it should decrease illegal parking, like double parking, because people get tickets when they're in a bus route. So if they're double parked, if they're parked on the bus lane, they'll get a ticket. So we want, before any implementation from DOT, we want the data from MTA, and then we'll move on from that. We are looking to have a forum in June. I'm working with DOT on the back end. They want to make sure that as much people are invited, so they can give their input, their recommendations. So stay tuned for that. And then we started our conversations around residential permit parking. I think it's a hot topic. It's complicated. In order for it to be equitable, it needs to be done right at the legislation, at city council. Obviously, it starts from the state. Carmen De La Rosa, council member, backs it. But there's a lot of conversation, so we don't have anything hungry yet. It's just a lot of, are we looking forward to it? But if you are interested, one of our public attendees, he created a pretty decent presentation on it. It's a lot of information. I can forward it to you guys. Again, I think that once something is set in stone, we need to come out together as a board and make sure that we work to include that it doesn't necessarily only benefit people west of Broadway. I'll leave it at that.
You say that on the mic.
Yeah, as far as the bus is concerned on Broadway, the same thing happened to 181st.
Yeah.
We have walked through with DOT. They made servers with the riders. Apparently, there was 100% approval rate to have the bus on 181st. However, when they did the survey on the small businesses, not a single small business was in favor of this. As a result, a lot of the small businesses have gone out and are going out of business right now. So I'll be really careful on how this is implemented because DOT has this way of collecting information and we don't know what information actually is coming from it. And if we have to hold true to what we stand for, we're a small business community, define who we are as a community, we're not going to have small businesses liability. So I'll strongly oppose anything that has to do with bus rates. If they want to make sure that buses move a lot faster, then have enforcement. Enforcement is the key. Well, we don't have to make any changes, but it's good to keep a small business in the community.
I brought up that point, I agree with you. When we had the meeting with them, November, December, whatever it was, that was, I think, the point that we all drove home.
And according to them, there was no data.
Yeah.
That was impact. I'm like, you see the before and after.
They have the data because I went with them once, door-to-door outreach, and not one single business was supported.
But according to them, there was no.
Hand and then.
So,
I think, I can't raise my hand, so count me in, whenever
Yeah.
I feel like, because I want to jump in.
yeah, before I get to my point, I just want to piggyback on something that Isidro said, because during that meeting, one of the things I pointed out when we were discussing 181st Street and we were speaking to DOT about impacts on the business from their perspective, it's very siloed and they're not looking at impacts on the business. So I suggested, why don't they do the Broadway study working with SBS so that you're not, looking purely from your technical traffic perspective. Whether they do it or not, I don't know, but that's one of the problems with some of the city studies, is they're so siloed, they only look at their area of expertise and not how it impacts other things. The data that was presented to us, for some reason, they didn't look at, Washington Heights and Inwood starting at 155th Street. They started either at 157th or 158th, and I didn't get a chance to why they were not looking at the first, couple blocks. Because there are bus stops there, and that would then intersect with, the BX6 coming up on 155th. It was odd that they were not beginning at the beginning of the district. They were starting a few blocks in.
Again, mentioned, I actually didn't count that point, but you're right, they started on 158.
Do they go all the way to the?
To 20th.
Yeah, but they don't start at the
Right.
beginning.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, traffic is jam-packed, so shout out Leo for holding it down these busy months. And the next month you have street co-naming for sure. I know you say had a question and then, yeah, we can turn it over to any Zoom chairs who have a report back.
You want me to make the comment now or just wait until my turn?
No, you can go for it.
I was just gonna chime in to what Wayne's comments about how the data is very siloed. It's very common sense. If you have 4 or 5 or 6 different corporations, like the way that 181st Street has now with Chick-fil-A, Target, BK, whatever, the sales taxes of just 5 or 4 of these big boxes, these corporations add up more than 20 of the small businesses that halfway, they don't claim as much. I don't want to get into trouble, but they don't claim as much taxes as these corporations do. So that's where this number comes from. And as a person that is probably as most affected as anyone in this room, as to how they operate, and I'm now aware that the small business had, and I'm gonna say this very threading the gray area, that agencies' implementations are as effective as the elected officials of the area that oversee them. And I'm gonna leave it alone.
Any chairs on or reps on Zoom that would like to talk about what's coming up, any ask, any issue?
Sure, real quick, for everything else, you guys could refer to the minutes. The only thing that I wanna talk quickly about is MWBE. So the legislation that authorizes that program is set to expire on July 1st of this year. So basically what the committee spoke about, we had Cloth there, we had people who have done UMass too was there at a meeting, and we were having a discussion on what this program has done right and what this program needs to fix. So, we're working on a resolution to pass next month or the month after, to urge our assemblymen and our state senators to support the recertification of this legislation. But we want the whole board to chime in on this. Like if anybody has done certification of MWB, what did you like? I think I'm going to do like a Google Forms, maybe spread it out and see if there's any input on what we could add or take away from that process. So just look out for that.
Do you want it, the Google form, is it like, are you thinking just board members, or is this something you want us to share out in the newsletter, like, hey, we want your feedback or something like that?
I think getting the general public involvement is good. It'll be great. But I don't know how familiar the board is. I'm not even too familiar with it. I've never done like a certification, but I think that getting it out to the general population would be a good idea, so I can include everything into the resolution.
And it's the state program that's expiring, right? Not
Yes.
the-
Well,
You're talking about Article 15A?
yeah.
Okay, but so are you talking about shortcomings with Article 15A? Or are you talking about shortcomings with the way at the state level ESD does certification, or on the city level, whichever cluster of agencies do their certification?
I think they're both. I think it's on. I was referring to the one at the state level.
Okay,
So
that's Article 15A and Empire State Development.
Yes. Is that the New York level?
Sorry. What I was gonna say was that what we could do is in the news, in the newsletter, just have it as a highlight and have people just email, because at the committee meeting, that's where ideally folks should go and kind of give input. So we can just kind of have a special segment at the top so that people can attend and email any ideas or concerns or their own, or share their stories about issues with the state MWBE, because state and the city process are very, very different. So, and then, I'll leave it there.
Okay. Thanks, Chair.
Hi, everyone. One thing I wanted to add to traffic and transportation that's upcoming, we'll be reviewing some street co-naming applications in April. So stay tuned to that if you want to join our meeting to share your input. And then for cannabis, we were supposed to receive the report out for the cannabis equity survey from the CUNY School of Public Health. We weren't able to do it at the last meeting, so they will be returning in April to give that report out. So I encourage all of you to join. Additionally, we are likely reviewing an application for a new dispensary that will be on 184th Street and Audubon or
Amsterdam,
right by Yeshiva University. So encouraging all of you to attend the meeting for your input as well. And then the last thing I wanted to share for cannabis is that we have been working to update the applicant guide that we have on the CB12 website and that we share with applicants when they're doing this. We have updated the timeline of when people should submit the notification and when they receive the questionnaire and when they have to submit all the documents, to just make it more streamlined and to alleviate the burden on the staff in the office, and just also to give the committee sufficient time to review the applications. And that is it.
Thanks, Carmen. Marielle, anyone wants to go next?
Yep, thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Chair. Yes, so for Housing and Human Services this month, we had a pretty short meeting. We just had a presentation from NIMIC, and it was good to kind of hear from them in terms of the services that they offer. A lot of their focus right now, understandably, is on the free tax prep program, but also, of course, their ongoing work as it relates to the immigrant hotline and immigrant support services. So I'll make sure that gets the flyer gets circulated for our newsletter and wider community distribution. In terms of a forward look, again, Rent Guidelines Board is always the big one around this time of the year. We did, when we met at the beginning of this month, the public hearing dates were not yet posted. I'll admit I didn't have a chance to check today, but they were usually towards the end of March, early April. So as soon as I'll take a look this evening, because we do want to get those dates out into the public. And these are the opportunities for people to engage in these forums before they, kind of put out the preliminary or the proposed rent increase for rent stabilized apartments. So, and obviously being one of the districts in the city that has the highest number of rent stabilized apartments, this definitely impacts us quite a bit. So stay tuned for that. And then the other thing is we'll hopefully have a presentation from DHS, I understand. Apparently there's a proposed family shelter that will be coming to the community in 2026. And so I need to kind of learn a little bit more about it, but hopefully we'll have them present at the April meeting. Thanks.
Anybody else that does not want to refer to the minutes?
I have,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead, Luana.
Also, Leo, I think also that Mark Levine, he supports neighborhood permit parking, not just Carmen de la Rosa, because I saw them promoting it together. Yeah. So the only refer to the minutes, thank you, Alexis, for always taking pristine minutes.
It happened.
Yes, but I did want to bring an issue, a concern. So the Dyckman Marina will be closed. So in addition to all the presentations that were done, wonderful presentations by this partnership that we just passed a resolution on, Friends of Inwood Hill Park, informing us on their festivities, their upcoming festivities, particularly Earth Day. The Dyckman, I want to say the Dyckman Marina, but it is a Dyckman Marina, not to be confused with the concession, is closing. And the Hudson Sailing Club came to express their concerns because they're going to be closing, unfortunately. And this is an entity that provides free programming, both for youth as well as ADA individuals. They do veterans. Thank you, Alexis. So there was a genuine concern that the club will be closed down. I guess jobs will be either lost or gone. And apparently there hasn't been sort of like a negotiation as to whether or not a phasing dock could be made available to continue with programming. So I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, they said,
Yeah.
they were under the impression that Parks is not interested in providing any sort of phasing for them. Now, they also have a site on Chelsea Piers. They also have a Chelsea site. But the Piers, I think where they did the veterans.
And
programming,
ADA,
yeah.
yeah. So I guess
Why is it closing?
construction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't clear. It has to close because that area will be also rehabilitated, remodeled, or revitalized, whatever language we're using. So I guess part of us as a committee, my job as a chair, is to see if I can broker a conversation between Parks and the club to see if we can find sort of like an amicable compromise and what are the causes for closing the pier entirely without the possibility of phasing.
And they were looking to maybe use that other pier, the concrete pier nearby.
On the other side
The
of the
other side,
concession,
correct.
I believe, yeah, thank you, Daryl. So I just wanted to put it on the table and on the record because I'm quite sure many of us might be hearing that dialogue. We might be hearing some kind of conversation. And then I have another announcement, but yeah,
So it's closing for construction. What is the construction duration?
I think it's 2 years.
Yeah, so the closure is now scheduled for January 2026.
But the duration is about 2 years, I think, right? Did I hear that
So from
correctly?
26 to 28.
Yes.
But there was a fear that the same thing would happen that happened at a pier on 72nd or 79th
The
Street where
boat basin?
they said it would be 2 years, but it just has gone on.
That never happened.
Yeah, that never happened. Yeah, that never happened.
Sorry, wait, where were we? You had,
I asked about the duration.
She has the duration.
oh, 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, last year something similar happened. which group was it that they didn't, that basically they had to move, but there was like a Harlem location? Do you remember?
That's not, I think it is actually called, it's Harlem Road.
But it wasn't the sailing, I think it was the rowing group.
Harlem, I think it's Harlem Road.
So their only option, I'm guessing, that's my question, is like, is the only like, I don't know this language, y'all, like the jump off point wherever you could sail, Chelsea?
Yeah.
Like, are there no
Harlem
other
River Community
piers that they can
Road.
use?
Yeah.
Or like work to get space for, I don't know, just an idea, or question. So yes, but I'll let Ebenezer know if he hasn't seen anything in the inbox yet.
And just to also say, wasn't there a resolution previously that
I believe
touched
so.
on this subject from
I bel-
2.5 years ago?
Yeah, I
November
believe so.
2022.
Yeah,
Also,
thank
maybe
you.
I'm thinking the same thing.
So it says, November 2022, they learned about a potential closure at a CB12 meeting. And Parks did answer their questions, and then in November 2023, they got a letter from Parks confirming that the closure would start January of 2025. Now it's scheduled for 2026.
Got it. Okay.
So with that, within that window that is now a little bit further away, maybe we can speak to Parks and just get if the phasing is contingent upon budgets or allocated funding, or basically just to have a dialogue and see if there is a point of compromise
Yeah, that was
between the club and Parks.
Yeah, because it's the fixed, they have a fixed pier and it's gonna be moved closer to the restaurant.
I'm also curious because it's been 3 years, so like, were there negotiations, what's happened, what's?
Well, that's what he said, he said that, Robert Burke, I guess he's executive director.
Yeah,
said-
Robert Burke,
Yeah,
he's the executive director for
He
the.
said, yeah, that it was, the resolution was passed in November 2022 without proper input from Hudson River Community Sailing. And he wants us to consider a phasing plan so they don't have to cease operations completely.
That's my only.
Yeah, and he said the phasing will, Parks came back regarding the phasing, if they were, it's over $3 million.
All right. All right, I think that covers everyone. Is there any old business? I know I have a ton of old business, so like I said, I think next month we're gonna have lots of admin pieces.
The handle.
Like the handbook, like secretary, treasurer, spending, we got a lot. Like the surveys,
Kathy, I
Yep.
just have one thing.
or get something better than pizza. Sorry, what happened, Carmen?
Are you, just wanted to bring up the exit survey. Is that something that you'll add for next month? Is that part of the? thing?
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. For me, I gave my edits. I'm good with it. So we actually don't, like, we can implement it.
Okay, great. So we can close the loop on that.
And that's a link that we'll just put into the handbook also. Actually, no, sorry, we can implement it. I just have to get the office to put it onto the office SharePoint. So it's a SharePoint form that always lives.
So if I want to get, the overall attendance from each committee for January, February, and March, who would I?
She'll get you Zoom and then the in-person.
Just, so I can see who's been attending.
Okay. Any new business?
I got new business. So I know we have, don't we got something like, don't we get together in June?
Yeah, thank you. The
Did you
get
say a
together.
drink?
Well, there has to be a few get togethers. There's one that I'm like chasing people down that I don't. Or I guess I could announce it. Hold on. So there's 2 get togethers. I don't think I shared it. Yeah, I don't want to share outside yet. But Carmen, and I were talking, and Carmen talked about the idea of getting all the like uptown boards together. So 9, 10, 11, 12. Eliezer had spoken about that before in his tenure. They were all like with it. So we just need space. So I've been in touch with Columbia to try to host it. The goal was to do it in April, but I think that's really tight.
Yeah.
So it might have to be like early May.
Great,
So
but
that's
I
one.
wanted to suggest a place, we got a new pub on 165th and Broadway,
Mhm.
and I really want us to go there. It's amazing. It's down the street from BBQ's.
I can't understand.
156 Ohio.
What is it?
Or
What is it, Tanisha?
What's it called, Mama?
and Broadway. You know, the pub.
That's what we go
Yes.
to.
Wait, you talking about the spot that we go to?
That's the spot we go to,
Fort
the corner.
Washington?
Fort Washington.
Broadway.
Yeah.
Right across the street,
Chase.
right across the street from Chase.
From
Right there. the-
Yes, I've
Yes.
been there. And I've
But
been with
we
y'all
can-
for almost 2
Actually,
years.
hold on, that's a good point. We've
I never
never
been, y'all don't come
hosted-
downtown, I always gotta come uptown, so I'm just saying.
Oh, no, excuse
go
me.
there.
The problem is that you go virtual and after the meetings, we hit the spot.
Sir.
Just saying. Just saying.
Okay,
I'm
so,
talking about the outings, like.
Okay,
we have
okay.
yeah, so the meet
Or
the board, we actually are due for one.
Yeah, we need one before.
Yeah, we should
need
do it.
one.
there.
We should do it there.
We've never did it at.
And he's pretty cool
Washington
now.
Club.
He's just
You know, he
saying-
owns the pizza thing
Yeah.
too
I
right now.
love it
too.
there.
And
I was like, I
Eagles
wanna
Shrine
get-
Public House
Mhm.
and Tubby Hub.
It's
Yeah,
not-
we go to
I've been there
this
once
too.
or twice.
Yeah.
It's good.
The old
Yeah.
Hyperscale.
I would never eat.
So I'm gonna need a date. What month do we wanna do this? Do you wanna?
Well, we'll do a meet, like the board, if I can meet the board.
Well,
should be
uptown is
in June,
9/10/11.
right before the summer.
So we just do one?
West Harlem.
Yeah,
Oh,
alright,
yeah,
and then if I can
sure.
finally get the chairs,
Yeah.
Harlem chairs.
For
and
sure.
I
give me a
covered
date,
because I
then
grew up
that's the other
in
one.
11. I moved to 9, then I moved to 12. and my
Alright, any
parents were from
new,
10.
other new business?
Chair, also, you got the Dykeman Loft that just opened up. Right there on, across the street from, Cachapas. It's a second floor loft, there's an event space that just opened up, so if you guys wanna.
I
We
have seen
good.
that.
We good, bro.
Denise ain't coming.
I have seen that. Is
I'm
that
just
the
putting it
one
out
up
there.
where, the
That's
tattoo
how
shop
we went out, he
was?
left
I'm
us.
coming.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly where the tattoo shop was at.
Yeah.
John knows what he did to us last time we went out.
Alright. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Twice.
Second.
Alright, thank you.
Yeah.
everyone.
Oh, my God.
that's very-
No, I was here.
Wait.
Very Tanisha.
You see what happened?